You know, if you're trying to sell your home and it's overpriced, even if your real estate agent is not having the discussion, the market's going to tell you. The question is whether you listen early enough and will still make a change to control the outcome. This is Jason Valentine with Coldwell Banker High Desert Realty, and I want to talk to you about something that sellers need to understand. You know, pricing is not about what we hope a home is worth. Pricing is not about what we need to get out of the property. Pricing is not about what the neighbor they said or what Zillow guessed or what we feel would be nice to get. Pricing is about what the market is willing to pay. And I want to use a real world example for you. You know, there was a home here in Gallup that was originally priced at $289,900. It eventually sold for $245,000 after sitting on the market for 271 days. Now think about that. That's not just a small miss. That's a pricing conversation that took almost 9 months for the market to force. And this is the part that sellers need to understand. The market usually gives feedback pretty early. If a home is priced correctly and marketed correctly and positioned correctly, we should see activity. You're going to see showings. You're going to see buyers asking questions. You're going to see agents giving feedback. And in many cases, you should see offers within reasonable windows. But when a home sits and sits and sits, that's not usually a marketing problem by itself. It's usually a positioning problem. And the number one positioning problem? Price. Here's what happens when a property is overpriced. First, the strongest buyers see it immediately. The most serious buyers are watching the market closely, and they have alerts that are built in that get sent to their emails. Agents are sending them listings, and they know what else is available. So when they see a home that's priced too high compared to the competition, they do not always make an offer, and many times they are just going to move on. So second, the home starts to lose momentum, and the first 2 or 3 weeks are critical when you list your house, especially in this market. And this is when your listing is fresh, and that's when it gets the most attention. And if it's priced wrong during that window, you might lose out on some of the very best buyers. Third, the days on the market start working against you. Buyers begin to ask, why has this home been sitting so long? And then instead of seeing your house as a great opportunity, they start wondering what's wrong with it. Fourth, when the price finally does come down, sometimes buyers don't respond the way sellers expect. And why? Well, that's because the home is no longer new to the market. It's already been seen. It's already been passed over. And so now the price reduction has to be strong enough to create new interest. And that's why small, hesitant price reductions don't often fix the problem. A $5,000 price reduction may make a seller feel like they did something, but if the market's telling us that it's significantly overpriced, that kind of adjustment's not going to change buyer behavior. So the lesson is really simple. Use the data early. Looking at active competition, looking at what's gone under contract, looking at what has actually sold. Look at how many showings you're getting. Look at what kind of feedback you're getting. Look at whether buyers are choosing your home or choosing something else. The seller does not get to decide the value alone. Unfortunately, the agent does not get to decide the value alone. It's what the market decides the value is. Our job is to interpret the market correctly and make decisions before the market makes them for us. Because at some point, every overpriced listing has an appraisal conversation, a buyer feedback conversation, or a price reduction conversation. And the goal is not to avoid the data, but rather the goal is to use the data while you still have leverage. So if you're thinking about selling, don't just ask, what can I list for? Ask a better question, is what pricing strategy gives me the best chance of attracting serious buyers, creating urgency, and getting the strongest result? That's a very, very different conversation, and it's the conversation every seller should be having before they go on the market. So if you're thinking about selling your home in Gallup or McKinley County, and I would encourage you to sit down with me and let's use the data to help you make a pricing decision. We can schedule a buyer strategy session with me at Coldwell Banker High Desert Realty. The link is in the description on this video, or you can give me a call. My cell phone number is 575-496-1068, or on my office phone, 505-863-4363. Thank you.